We welcome you all inside 12th Man Studios and to the latest edition of The Beat. I'm Will Johnson. As usual, this time of year, we are going to start with Texas A&M hoops. Gary Blair and his women's team knocking on the door of the top 10 and hoping to host the first and second rounds of the NCAA tournament come March at a key tilt in February this Sunday. The Aggies, nationally ranked, host top 25 and national powerhouse, Tennessee. The Aggies and the Lady Vols, two household names in women's college hoops, played a classic at Reed Arena. It's what you'd expect from them. By halftime, they were separated by the slimmest of margins. A&M led 30-29. But Rocky Top started rolling in the second half. Tennessee outscored the Aggies in the third quarter, 22-10. Early in the fourth, the Vols have a 13-point lead. They're poised for a quality road win. A&M comes back. With 2.5 minutes to go, they get within 6. Continuing to chip away. The Aggies are down 2 with well under a minute left. Time ticking away. Less than 10 seconds. Andriel Howard scores, game tied at 61. And yes, it's on to overtime. In the extra frame, Courtney Walker takes over. A&M's played 3 OT games this year. Walker has been sensational in the overtimes on each occasion. This Sunday, she scores 10. In the additional 5 minutes, Texas A&M wins 76-71.
My heart was dropping as the time was ticking. I knew we needed the shot. We were down by 2. Time was ticking. I got the rebound, and me and Chelsea batted at it, and I grabbed it and just shot it.
As for the Texas A&M men, a tough week. They entered a Wednesday contest in Nashville against Vanderbilt, ranked 8th in the country, lost to the Commodores, then came back home over the weekend and were defeated by South Carolina. They are still in the thick of the race for an SEC championship. 2 key tilts this week, at Alabama Wednesday, at LSU on Saturday. Back in a moment to talk Aggie track. This portion of the beat is brought to you by ASCO, your place for case construction equipment in Texas. We welcome you back, and we are joined in studio now by head track and field coach Pat Henry. Quite a weekend. Hosted the Charlie Thomas Invitational at Gillum Indoor Stadium, and they swept it. Both were winners, the Aggie men and the Aggie women, claiming the titles of that event, and did so in somewhat dominating fashion. And, Coach, we'll definitely talk about this Charlie Thomas Invitational. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. You know, Charlie was such a integral part of this development of this program many years ago. And we lost Charlie this year, so just fun for me and the people that were there, and some people that we had that were older folks that were there. Remembering Charlie Thomas was a nice thing.
Yeah, certainly a great event to honor him. And when you got to it, the men, the score suggests they were well out in front, 176 points. The closest to them was Clemson at 89.5. From your own eyes, was it that impressive?
Yeah, really, we did some very good things this weekend. Our team is starting to gel a little bit. We have some youth in the group that are starting to understand a little bit about what we've been talking about all year long. So some of those young people are starting and contributing in big ways too. So I'm very pleased with the men's team right now.
Mm-hmm. Even the women were pretty well out in front. 144 points for them. Closest competition to the ladies was Arkansas at 102. Right. And with the women, and even with the men, we saw some school records fall in this meet.
And anytime you have a school record, that's a big one at A&M, because our teams have been pretty good over the last for a long time now. And so anytime you have a school record, it's a significant accomplishment. And yeah, we did. We had 3 this weekend. Annie Kuntz in the multi-event, Lyndon Victor in the multi-event on the men's side, and then Kate Willard at 800 meters for the ladies. So big time wins for those people, and their picture goes up on the back wall now.
That's right. So you take the victories here at home, and now the track program kind of focuses in on Fayetteville and Arkansas. Right. You've got 2 really big ones coming up there. This weekend's the Tyson Invitational, very prestigious, always going to be some good competition. Right. And really, it's that final tune-up before you go back to Fayetteville in late February for the SEC championships.
Right. They have the opportunity to go up and get on the track is a big part of why we go up there right now, just to familiarize yourself with the track, which each indoor track is a little bit different. The venues are a little bit different. You wouldn't think that, but like our indoor facility for the long or the triple jump, it is a flat floored event. We're sitting right on the floor. Right. Where at Arkansas it's an elevated, it's up off the ground about 12 inches, so it has a different bounce to it. It's different. So all of those kinds of things, just a little bit different. Each individual facility around the country is a little bit different. So it's good for us to go up there and do this.
Donovan Brazier in the middle distance, what he's done just right off the bat in his Aggie career is certainly exceptional. We'll talk to him in just a minute on this show, but your take on this young man that comes from Michigan to compete for the Aggies.
Yeah, we felt like he was a great talent when we signed him, and he's trained well. He's adapted well to this environment. And he leads the world right now, not just has set a junior record. No one has run 145 indoors at this point. It's an outstanding performance, and he runs on a mile relay as well. He's a guy that's also run a mile earlier this year, so he's got a tremendous range. 800 meters is his race. But I'm going to run him on that mile relay just to work on his speed and trying to get him faster. And he helps our mile relay too. He's good. So.
All right, thanks for the time, Coach.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Pat Henry right here on The Beat. When we come back, a conversation with freshman Donovan Brazier. This portion of The Beat is brought to you by Memorial Hermann, official sports medicine partner of Texas A&M Athletics. Welcome back to 12th Man Studios and to The Beat. We just talked to head track and field coach Pat Henry, and he commented on Donovan Brazier, his freshman middle distance runner. Brazier is new to Aggieland, but already making a name for himself across the country. He recently sat down with our own Jake Koberski.
For the Gillum Indoor Track and Field facility, I'm joined with heralded Texas A&M track and field freshman Donovan Brazier. Donovan, thanks for coming out this afternoon and joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So let's dive a little bit into your past from Grand Rapids, Michigan. When did track become a real focal point in your life? When did you really get started in the sport?
I ran track when I was like in 4th grade, but that was just kind of like one of those club sport things. It wasn't like with my school. So the first time I ran track was about like 4th grade. But then I didn't start getting serious probably till like my sophomore year. Like track in like middle school was just all about like hanging out with your friends and stuff like that. But I never really thought that I'd run track collegiately actually, especially like being like bad my freshman and middle school years especially. But I started to like grow like my sophomore, junior, and senior year and started getting letters, so I realized I might be able to do something with this.
So you're from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and you came all the way down here to Texas A&M. When did Aggieland really get on your radar, and what was kind of the deciding factor that brought you to College Station?
Aggieland probably didn't have to do as much work as a lot of other schools because I visited Michigan first, then Wisconsin, and then LSU was my third one. And after visiting LSU, I just love like the South, especially. I like the SEC. I like having like the thought I could be an SEC athlete. So I contacted Texas A&M, Coach Henry, and I got a phone call from Coach Francisque that night, and he got me on like the next flight out here like the next weekend. So that's how it all kind of came together.
So in the 800 meters, you made quite a debut. You go in your first collegiate race or first collegiate attempt at the 800 meters, you go and set the junior American record with a time of 1 minute 45.93 seconds. What was going through your mind as you crossed the stripe and won that race?
Well, when I started off going through the race, like my adrenaline was just pumping so fast because it's my first race, my first time wearing the A&M logo like while running the 800 meters. So I went out fast, and then I noticed my time to come to the third lap was really fast. So all I was thinking is like, I just can't die. So I was just trying to finish as fast as possible. And when I saw the 145, I was really surprised because I was just happy to break the record, really. I didn't know that I broke the indoor junior record for America.
Did you know what the record was prior to that?
That wasn't like a target of mine. The only target I had was the one that Joy Roberts set, the 147.1. I just wanted to beat that.
Prior to that race, really, what were your goals for the season as an athlete and personally? What were you trying to achieve during your freshman season?
I was mainly just trying to get my grades up. But athletically, I just wanted to make the travel team, really. Just get the gear for the travel team. But my expectations for my coaches are definitely starting to go up. So there's a lot of pressure now.
The best athletes, regardless of sport, they're motivated by something. What motivates Donovan Brazier?
What motivates me? I mean, it's easy to come out to practice every day. Like when you have the teammates that I have, like with the 800 crew especially, but a lot of the 400 meter guys too. It's just like a good environment to go to each and every day. Like you enjoy going to practice, you enjoy seeing the coaches, and you don't mind working hard because you know it's for something greater.
You mentioned earlier your goal was to just make the travel team. You wanted to get the swag and whatnot.
Yeah.
Now, after such an achievement and breaking an American record, what are your goals moving forward this season, and then maybe looking ahead a little bit? I know athletes don't like to look ahead too much. But looking ahead, what are your goals as an athlete here at Texas A&M?
My main thing is just to prove that wasn't a fluke. Just keep on getting better. Maybe get into the 144s. But I know lots of people like keep saying like Rio and stuff like that. But I think my main focus is just to be a junior while I can and just try to make the junior team for America this summer, this June.
What's in store indoors for Brazier and the Aggies coming up? Like we mentioned earlier, on February 26th and 27th, they're at the SEC Championships in Fayetteville. Also, you got to mark down March 11th and 12th. That's the NCAA Indoor Championships in Birmingham, Alabama. Brazier and the Aggies will certainly be a factor. Back in a moment to talk tennis. We welcome you back inside 12th Man Studios and to the beat. We've got head men's tennis coach Steve Denton with us at our desk right now. Quite a week for his team. We're going to go through it. Entering play last week, Texas A&M was the third-ranked team in the country. Had quite a slate before them. And essentially, coming out of it, Coach, you defeated 3 top 30 teams. And like I said, we'll kind of go in order here. You take it back to Wednesday. You go on the road to face Baylor, and you get a win there. Some will talk about it's defeating an in-state rival, but more important, you proved early in the season that you can take down a top 5 team.
Well, it was a great effort. We'd never beaten Baylor at Baylor. Their record there has been impeccable the last couple of years, and it's a really hostile environment. I thought our guys handled the situation really well. We came out and won the doubles point, which has been a signature of our team thus far, and we were able to kind of take it to them in the singles and quieten the crowd a little bit. But our guys really played with a lot of energy and inner belief. When things got a little bit tight, our guys stepped up and played really well.
Yeah, it certainly was a nice win. And then you took everything back home to the Mitchell Center. Essentially, you guys got 5 wins all told this week, but there were 3 feature matches, I'd say. And then you go to Friday, you host Florida State, a top 30 team. This seemed to be college tennis at its best because it comes down to court number 1, the top line. A&M's Arthur Rinderknecht, number 5 in the country. He took on Florida State's Benjamin Locke, ranked 15th nationally. And at the time, it was 3-3 at the end. And you guys win it over the Seminoles with Arthur leading you with high drama at the end.
Well, it was. And you know, one of the things that we had been concerned about was obviously this emotional match on Wednesday night, playing indoors and then coming outside and playing on a cold night, windy. The court was completely dead. I mean, it couldn't have been any different conditions than it was on Wednesday night, and for our guys to prevail and for Arthur to come up, and he didn't play very well on Wednesday night, you know, and on Friday night he wasn't really playing that well. It was difficult to play in those kind of conditions, but ironically at the end of the match with everything on the line and when it mattered the most, he played his best tennis. That was what I was most proud of, is he came up with the goods when we really needed it.
Yeah, so you beat Baylor Wednesday. You beat Florida State on Friday. You cap off a great week with another win back home. This one on Sunday, you defeat 13th ranked South Florida at the Mitchell Center.
Yeah, and they're better than 13. I thought of the 3 teams, as I looked at the teams, you know, forget about the rankings, I thought that was the team that was the most difficult team to beat on Sunday. They're going to be at the National Indoors with us as well as Baylor later this week. And they have a lot of pieces. They took the number 1 player from Florida State last year. He's playing for them. He played number 2 for them on Sunday. And so they were a really, really experienced team. And for us to play as well, I said to the guys afterwards, you know, this is Super Bowl Sunday, and we started out super on Sunday. We played great in the doubles. We won the first set in 5 of 6 singles matches. We were ahead a break, a serve, and many of those matches in the second set, and then things got a little complicated. I mean, they began to show us how good a team they were, and thankfully Jackson Withrow, our senior, was able to put that 4th point on the board for us and end up winning the match 4-1, but it was a lot closer than that, obviously, because that match we were losing, a couple of the others are still on the court.
Yeah, and the reward for getting 3 great victories this week is going on the road for about a month, taking on a lot of other ranked teams. You're going to Charlottesville for the ITAs. There's an Ohio State match, an at Illinois match. I mean, the difficulty and possibly some dramatic matches continue for you guys.
Well, absolutely. I mean, this weekend we're going to get to play the top teams in the country, the top 16 teams. And, you know, last year we ended up being the highest ranked team that didn't make the national indoor. We didn't want to miss this event again this year. So our goal was to get through that, which we were able to do. And now we get this opportunity, and we're playing probably, you know, 4 or 5 top 10 teams on the road, indoors, which, you know, in the past has not been our forte. I like this team, though. I think this team is our best potential indoor team that I've had since we've been here in the last 10 years. And so, you know, we'll see, but this is a great opportunity for our guys, and I know they're really excited about it.
The next time Steve Denton and the Aggies are back home at the Mitchell Center, it's March 4th and 6th. On March 4th, they host Auburn. On the 6th, it's Florida. It all starts SEC play. Back in a moment to close out the beat. At Super Bowl IV, Lynn Dawson of the Kansas City Chiefs was named the game's MVP, and the winning head coach was Hank Stram, both playing for the Chiefs and both attending Purdue University. Until this Sunday, it was the only time 2 players for the same school were named MVP and winning head coach. Until the Golden Game. On Sunday, the Denver Broncos defeated the Carolina Panthers. Von Miller of the Aggies was named the MVP. Gary Kubiak, a quarterback in this program in the early 80s, the winning head coach. We send out a congratulations to both of them, Von Miller and Gary Kubiak of Texas A&M and the Denver Broncos, Super Bowl 50 champions. We have run out of time from 12th Man Studios. That means we'll see you next week on The Beat.